Hello and welcome everybody to our BCom in Accounting. That's Milpark Education's BCom in Accounting online webinar session, information session, where we're going to tell you all about the goodness of what we do at Milpark and how we present a CA-aligned, SAICA accredited, CEO of the future, BCom in Accounting. So it's wonderful to be talking to you all. My name is Jonathan Dillon, and I am the head of the School of Professional Accounting. And it is my privilege to be talking to you together with my esteemed colleagues, as well as a few of our students on the program. So to introduce you to who's on the call over here, we have Naila Musaji, who's the acting head of department for the wonderful program that we have. We've got Terry Lee Raycliffe, who is one of our non-academics on the call. She's a star in supporting our students on a psychosocial front, and we'll hear more from her a little bit later. And then we've got two of our academics on the program. We've got Laura Gregory and Jean-Pierre Malchas. Laura's specialty is strategy and leadership. Jean-Pierre's is analysis and decision making. What does that mean? I'll tell you a bit more, or we will tell you a bit more about that a little later. And then we've got Letobutle, one of our students on the program with us, and we're just waiting for one or two more to join us as well for the discussion. So thank you, colleagues and students and prospective students, for joining the call. We look forward to telling you more about our program, and not only the program, but also the options that there are for those who would like to get onto our program. So our BCom accounting program is now in its third year of running. It was launched officially as one of the first online BComs that are fully aligned with the SAICA competency framework and built from scratch, from the bottom up, from scratch, to fully align with SAICA's competency framework. So to cover the entire competency framework, the goodness of SAICA's competency framework, with all of its technical knowledge, not only technical knowledge, but also its attributes, pervasive skills, and that are also developed, that are to be developed and are required by chartered accountants, but that we specifically focus on also developing in the program from the start of the program. So the program was developed in a way that it takes you as a student from first year through to third year on a journey through a business. So the focus of the program is the whole time on the content that you're learning being contextualized. That's very important. So we are focused on not only the why question, but the why now question. So what I'd like to do is to talk a little bit up front with Nahila about the entrance requirements that we have to the program. So Nahila, I'm going to ask you to just talk a little bit with me about the entrance requirements and how we flexibly structured the program to not only have one entry point, but a few entry points. So firstly, the straight entry requirements onto the program, and I'm sure a lot of you would be interested in that, are that you need to have, for 4 subjects, you need to get at least 50%, but those subjects need to be 20 credit subjects. In other words, it doesn't apply to life orientation. So 4 of your subjects you need above 50% for in matric, but that needs to include English. So you need a pass in English as well. If you don't do English as your main first language, but it's a first additional language, then you need 60% for English. So in addition to that, you also need to either have passed maths proper, or you need to have 70% for maths literacy. So we also allow those who have a good mark in maths literacy onto the program. So between those as your main entry requirements, you may be asking, but what if I don't get the maths? Or what if I don't achieve the direct entry requirements? Well, then we have a bridging program. So the bridging program allows you to gain entry if you don't get the 50% for maths pure or the 70% for math literacy. Then, as long as you get for 2 of a bouquet of 5 subjects, 50%, which includes economics, business economics, physical science, accounting, or natural science. If you look at those 5 subjects and you at least get 50% for 2 of those subjects, then you can get into our bridging program. So Naila, maybe you come in here. I want you to talk a little bit about our bridging program as what are the entry requirements for the bridging program, and what does the bridging program give a student and offer a student on their journey to coming into the BCom? And then we'll spend a bit more time on the entry requirements and go into a bit more detail of the program.
Thanks, Jonathan. Hi, everyone. I'm Naila Musaji. I'm the acting HOD on the program. Thanks for sharing, Jonathan. So I think one of the things I just want to start with saying is that there is an option for you if you're looking to study the BCom and you maybe don't meet that maths requirement. Then you can look at our bridging program. So to enter our bridging program, you need a minimum mark of 50% or higher in any 2 of your subjects, which is either economics, business economics, accounting, physical science, or natural science. And the bridging program is 6 months. And what's quite nice about it is that you actually join the usual BCom students on the full program, and you do the numeric modules first. So you do first the compulsory module, which is called Introduction to Professional Accounting Studies. And that's a 4-week module, and it's quite a nice touching base, introducing you to the program, getting you familiar with our e-bike story, the journey that you go on, and introducing you to Canvas, our learning management system, and how we do things. Then after the IPAS module, you then go on to completing a maths module, a financial reporting module, and a digital module. Once you completed those modules, you then automatically go into the full program and join the rest of the students again.
And then when students have done the bridging program, they also get exemption for the full program. So basically the way we've crafted the bridging program is that you're not doing a separate program, you're doing a part of the BCom. So you're starting your journey with us, which is how we've crafted it there. And it's basically to unlock the potential that we know is in so many people who don't meet the maths requirement, but they still can become CAs, and they can get on the CA journey and become very successful CAs or professional accountants at the end of the day. So that's the bridging program. A bit more detail on the entrance requirements. If you've done another qualification, a higher certificate, NQF5 or NQF6 qualification that's in the field of business, you can also gain entry into our BCom. We also have RPL, the recognition of prior learning, for those who may have been working many years and have relevant work experience. So that's on the entrance requirements into the program. You may also be asking, there's another one. What if I don't even get into the bridging program and I don't have the 50% for those 2 subjects that we spoke about? Well, then we also offer a higher certificate in management. To get into a higher certificate in management, which is a year-long program, you need a matric pass, in other words, a matric certificate, and you need to have passed English. So you need to have a pass in English. So then you can get onto the higher certificate in management, and after completing the higher certificate in management, you can come straight into the BCom. So basically, we just wanted to highlight that up front because understanding the entry requirements are important, and even if you don't meet the entry requirements, there are other options to meet you where you are and bring you on the journey. All right, so that's looking at the entry point. Obviously, if you exit our BCom, it's a SAICA accredited BCom, and it'll gain you entry into our postgraduate diploma in accounting, which is the next step, and then eventually you write SAICA's board exams. So it's fully accredited. And let's talk, Naila, about the flexibility that we offer students on, because I see on the program some students are asking, do they write tests online, etc. So maybe let's talk about the fact that there's half workload option. What does a half workload option mean? When is material released to the students, and how does this thing of online work,
Okay.
online learning?
Yeah. So I think what I enjoy most about the program is that I've chatted to a few of our students, and a lot of them have hobbies and passions that they're pursuing, and then they may be even a cyclist, professional golf player, but they still want to develop themselves academically. And this program, because it's delivered online and we allow that for that flexibility, there's that space for you to kind of develop yourself professionally and pursue your passions, and then pursue your academic goals. So the program's completely online, and you write all your exams online. We try to pace the learning journey and walk with you and support you on the way. So we release material every Friday. And yeah, that's just so that we can walk with you. We offer the live sessions, and in those live sessions, it's a facilitation of learning, and we co-create the space where we learn together. We also have our consultations, which is one-on-one with students, which the students can book. And yeah, and I'm thinking, I've lost my words now, Jonathan.
No, all good. Half workload versus full workload, um, and then also 2 intakes that we offer.
Yes. So what's quite nice about the program is that if you are looking to study halfway through the year, we've got 2 intakes, and you can register for all modules simultaneously, because we're running semester 1 and semester 2, both parts of the year. So if you're looking to study and start studying now in July, you can even start get registered with us. Our next semester starts the 4th of August, which is quite nice. You can do first semester, second semester modules, and get going with your studies halfway through the year. A half load option is 3 modules that you select, and that can be up to you. In first year, obviously, you have to start with the compulsory module, which is Introduction to Professional Accounting Studies, and then you can choose the numeric modules or the other modules of your choice. And then the full option would be your full 5 modules per semester, and that's completely up to you. It's not based on your academic ability. It's more based on the time that you have available. So 40
Yeah.
hours a week would be for your studies, and that's obviously whether you're working or you're studying full time, and what you are able to manage in your personal life so that you can succeed.
That's a very important point that you make there. So this thing of a full workload, that'll be like what we know is like a full-time student. You're taking on a full load. That would generally require around 40 hours a week commitment, and then a half workload. I mean, obviously you can take less as well, depending on. So a 3-year BCom, the maximum time you have is 9 years to complete the qualification, but you have to make steady progress through the qualification. We're just saying there is this option of a half workload where you spread it out, and then again, that's a time decision. It's how much time can you make available, not an academic decision. It's not a higher grade, standard grade type of decision to make. It's just what time can you commit to the program. And yeah, so that was an important point. I think what I'd like to do is to bring Laura in. Laura, you are an academic on the program, and maybe tell us the modules that you've been involved with. And I'd like to then have a discussion around the themes, because you also operate across themes. So, but first, what modules do you take?
Okay, let me start from the beginning. Last semester, I did some financial reporting compliance 2B. So that's the second part of your second year accounting module. You could, if you want to stream it that way. I was also involved in a module called Strategy and Leadership for Value Creation, which is a module that talks about values and ethics, but also about strategy. So what are the tools that we could use to strategize in wanting to grow our business? Then this semester, I was involved in a module, Strategy and Leadership for Stakeholder Engagement. And what I love about that module is the first 6 weeks of that module is personal leadership coaching. So that's a very, very it's a growth module, it's a reflection module. So it really brings those other soft skills, you want to call it, into the program. And then I was also involved in JP speciality, analysis and decision making, which I'll wait for him to talk about a little bit later. But really talking about the themes, Jonathan, our program isn't just the big four. We have the big four. We do, but the program is structured in terms of themes. What do you need to start a business? You need to strategize. You need to lead your business. Then how do you get that information? To do this, to strategize, you need to analyze the information and then make decisions on that. So that's the second theme. And then the third theme is obviously you need to tell the receiver of revenue what you're doing, and you need to report to your stakeholders and your shareholders, and that's your financial reporting compliance theme. And then there is your risk and governance. So every business has a risk, and how do you govern your business? So those are the broad themes that the program's built around. Yeah.
Great. No, thank you. Those themes, it's an important one. It's the way the program was structured. So the way we went about it was taking CICA's COMSI framework. We took CIMA, we looked at various professional bodies, and basically put all of their learning outcomes on post-its. And we actually have a room in the office now called it the sticky note room, because that's where it comes from, because there were just sticky notes all over as we were trying to group the different sticky notes. And we got into those four themes. We got into the strategy and leadership, the analysis and decision making, the risk and governance, and the financial reporting and compliance. So you're like thinking the big four. What's the big four that you alluded to? That would be financial reporting, tax, auditing, and management accounting and finance. You don't hear those words. So you may even be wondering there, if you're a student and you've heard these things before, well, where's tax covered? Well, tax is covered with financial reporting in the module called financial reporting and compliance. So we look at the tax together with the financial reporting at the same time. And then there are three modules that fit around those themes. The one, Naila, you've referenced, is the Introduction to Professional Accounting Studies that students do right up front. You're learning about everything that it takes to be in business, and high level, not everything at the depth that you do as you go through the program. And being a professional accountant in business. And then you actually have to do a business plan in that first module that you do. When you start the program as well, there's a big focus on people. So Laura, you mentioned it in your module that you do. I think it's the one on strategy and leadership for stakeholder engagement, where there was a big focus on you as the leader of the organization and how you engage with stakeholders and conduct yourself as a leader in the business. And that starts right at the beginning of the program, where our students do Gallup Strengths Finder, and they find out a bit more about themselves in terms of their strengths, and then even through the program working in groups and figuring out more about themselves and their fellow students as well. So sometimes we also know that discomfort is important in learning, because discomfort helps you to grow. And that, I know a lot of students would say, oh, we don't necessarily like working in groups and that. But what has the feedback been, Laura, when the students have had to work in groups or actually find out more about themselves and their strengths, etc.?
Initially, of course, there was some resistance to working in groups, and why do I need to know about myself to become a professional accountant? However, the feedback that I received is specifically in this module that I just did now, is that the students were not aware that there were actually tools out there that could show you exactly how to become a better leader. And they received that quite well. In fact, one of the students actually said to me they used it in the workplace while they were doing the course, and she said she was amazed. You know what, the stuff works. So yeah, so I'm getting good feedback from the students that have done the module. Yes, so it is uncomfortable in the beginning.
Yeah, you're not only getting good feedback from them, but you're getting good results.
Yes,
because I've been signing off your guys' results, and the strategy and leadership, which I would have thought were the grayer, more uncomfortable modules, and that the students are actually enjoying and they're doing pretty well at. And I think your feedback has also been that the students quite enjoy it because they don't necessarily have to study as hard for it, because it's not as technical as some of the other subjects. But it's It's good holistically. I'm going to ask Jean-Pierre you to join the discussion here with me and Laura. Just maybe tell us what modules you do. You've also worked with Laura. You guys have worked together in the very exciting theme of.
Analysis and decision making.
There we go. That sounds cool. So yeah, what are your
Yeah.
modules?
Hi everyone. So my modules are analysis and decision making 2A and analysis and decision making 2B. So those are the second year analysis and decision making modules. Maybe just to clear something up, because we're talking about tax and financial reporting and governance, and no one has mentioned anything about management accounting and finance. So fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of the management accounting and finance topics feed into analysis and decision making, but we try and repackage it and make it something more engaging and fun.
And I mean, even on that analysis and decision making, I work close with you because my experience is from the postgrad space in management, accounting, and finance as well. And yeah, it is a beautiful discipline because of exactly that. I've always enjoyed it because you're analyzing, you're making decisions, taking the business forward. And it's instilling a passion and an understanding because students have often struggled with management, accounting, and finance, right? It's often been the discipline of the big four. Students will say, that's the one that tripped me up, or I really don't like that one. And often we've heard, even in the postgrad space, Millpark, you've changed it for me, you've changed it around for me, you've changed my perception in that. But I love what we're doing in the BCom space because we're doing it differently. So tell me a little bit about how we're doing this thing of the traditional management, accounting, and finance, but through this theme of analysis and decision making in terms of what students are saying and how you're bringing the content across.
So a number of students work as well, and a lot of times I get comments that this is so relevant to what I'm currently doing at work. I'm understanding this decision that has been taken a lot better. That's a lot of feedback I get. And as well, because it's an online setting, the assessments are also submitted online. And since it's submitted online, students submit for most of the questions in an Excel document. And to relate that to the workplace, you will not in a financial department get told by your superior, go and draw a graph and draw a table using your ruler and your calculator and then give me the schedule that I need. You would go and do it in Excel, and you would submit it to your boss or your manager in Excel. So there's a lot of practical application just in terms of the content, but then as well in terms of how students engage with the content and ultimately are assessed.
I was also thinking it's a good point you raise, and it just reiterates what Naila said earlier as well in terms of online assessments. The program is fully online. We have a focus of asynchronous first. We're not going to carve out synchronous moments where you have to be attending something at a point in time. It's going to be asynchronous. So in other words, our programs can fit your life. So it's not that your life must fit our programs. That's what we try and do. So we've spoken a lot about the program, but even on this thing of management, accounting, and finance, it's not like you have a management accounting and then a finance module. It's interwoven, the costing, the finance, the tax, the leadership, and that. So basically, the BCom starts at the beginning with an e-bike journey that you go on. And the business that you're working on is an e-bike business. And then you progress from the sole proprietor at the beginning of the BCom through into partnership, company, private company, into a listed company, into a group of companies eventually as you find yourself in your third year. Initially, it's a service concern. There's no manufacturing. Later, imports are brought in, and then you start doing Forex transactions. So the learning happens where it makes sense at the phase of the business. That's why we talk about the why and the why now. It's not only the why, but it's the why now. How am I going to use it? Where am I going to use it in my business? Which is really, really, really cool. Okay. What I'd now like to talk to quickly, Laura and Jean-Pierre, you can share your thoughts on just how do you as academics support the students? And then we'll move to Terry, where we talk about the non-academic support. But as academics, you know, if it's videos and it's an LMS that the students go through, how do you add value to the students' learning journey?
So if I may, Jean-Pierre, we have Viva Engage, where students, we have a dedicated Viva Engage platform for each module. So if students have questions and they need support, they can post it on the Viva Engage page, and then everybody sees it, which is great. And then you can answer that question on Viva Engage. Also, consultations, we are available if students want to consult. So they have one-on-one consultations with us. And I think the most support I've given to students is in the live sessions, that the voluntary live sessions. So when they do come, then we focus on 1 week of content, and that is how we grapple with their content and then get through it, and that's how they get there. Yeah.
And even those live sessions that you have where students have the ability to ask, they are recorded and then posted afterwards.
Correct.
So even those that couldn't attend a live session would be able to glean insights from that actual live session.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically the academic support that's offered, it can be real time or it can be delayed. You can book a consultation, you can talk real time. Or delayed in terms of posting your query, and then we resolve to get back to our students within 24 to 48 hours with queries, and then they consult with you. Jean-Pierre, have you had any after hours consultations?
Yes, so we do set up the consultation so that a student in any live space is able to engage with us. So we have some early sessions and some sessions later on in the afternoon, lunchtime as well. Maybe just one thing to note as well is because we are growing, we are available as academics, as lecturers, and students consult directly with us. It is not a tutorial leader that students consult with. So we are available, and we encourage students to make use of us and engage with us if ever they need any assistance, whether it's a direct consultation, and as Laura also mentioned, during those live sessions, which are not lectures, they are engaging sessions where we discuss things, where we ask things maybe a different way than how it is laid out in the content or in the question, for example.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Off the back of this, Letobuhle, can I call you into the conversation? Are you with us here? I can't see everybody on my screen. I want to just check. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
There we go. Wonderful. Thank you for joining our discussion. It's wonderful having one of our students with us. Letobuhle, my understanding is that you are a second year student and you're going into your third year now as the next semester starts, which actually talks to how all of our modules are presented at any point in time. So did you start with us right at the beginning or at the middle of the year? How and when did you start with us?
Oh yes, I started as part of the second group, so I was part of the second intake. So I started at the middle of the year with you guys.
Wonderful.
Yes,
So
just to really
basically,
the program. Yes.
it's basically where students are now finding themselves possibly joining our program when it kicks off early August. So how have you found the academic? Well, talk to whatever you really want, because we've spoken about the interconnectedness of the learning, the themes that there are. We've spoken about the academic support, and what have you, basically it's an open-ended question to what have you found as the goodness of the program with you having been a student with us?
Okay. Firstly, I would just like to let everyone know that I am a full-time student. I do all the modules and I work full-time currently as a psycho student at one of the training offices. So being part of this program actually was actually great because you get to work and study because it's fully online. With the exams, the supports, I must mention the support when you're writing exam. It's so incredible. The fact that there's online support in case you face issues while writing exam, because that was one of my biggest concern, writing an exam online where it's going to a physical center, because I'm always used to a physical center. But the support that you get when writing an exam is exceptional. And moving on to the content that will be released weekly, it's great. I think it's just all about commitment when you have a lot of things going on. Committing good time, as they said, 40 hours per week. If you can try and exceed that, that's also good. I try my best. It's good time management that you need. And with the content, I really like the concept of e-bike. E-bike is one of the business that you start with when you start with the program. Like they walk you through the stages of different types of businesses that are available. So feedback is part of the content or throughout the years, so you see and you grow with this business and you get to understand more, and it breaks down stuff for you to make sense a bit more. And what else do I have to comment about? Actually, the program has been great. Also with the support system where you log in tickets if you have issues, they resolve it quickly for you. uh yeah, man, I can't complain a lot with Mopark. Everything has been good so far. Thank
If you have to complain or you want to complain, you're also welcome to. So I did ask about the goodness. We're always open to feedback. That is one thing at Mill Park as well. We're saying if we can improve the program, we always want to.
Yes, I
So
must mention that you guys did improve in some of the stuff, because when I initially started, we had little bit of problems with the help desk, but ever since
yes,
now, so it gradually like improved and stuff. And the fact that after your exams, you get to submit a feedback on how was the module, how did you find the module and stuff. That was also a great concept to include in the module. So that was also good. So
no,
we
nice.
do
So
complain,
that's
and
good to hear.
they do
Yeah.
hear our complaint.
We sometimes improve what we think will be an improvement. So it's good to hear that those
Yes.
improvements have been well received. Um,
Exactly. And I also like the fact that when you write a test, I think you have I think it's called the participation test, where you need to say, tell or answer a few questions. How did you find the test? How many hours
yes,
did you allocate? So that's like sort of feedback, and it also reflects to you as a person if you should put more hours in and what went wrong on your side, and make
that's
sort of
it.
greater connection with the lecturers and to understand you a little bit better.
No, thank you for mentioning that, Litabutle, because there's two things that I thought of commenting on as you speaking. The one is that you actually, and Jean-Pierre mentioned it, you get to write online tests
Yes.
where you're using Excel, Word, etc.,
Mm.
in your submissions and using the LMS. Have you found that good? And you said you like the online writing, but in particular, especially with you being in the workplace as was, that also benefited you in the workplace.
Oh yes. Firstly, when it comes to with the programs being fully online, I think also with your typing skills and with your basic understanding of how a computer works, if I can damn it that way, um is very important, because the tests are timed at times, so you must be quick when it comes to typing. So I was fortunately enough, I was good with typing, because previously I had kept a computer application technology at school, and also at work I used a lot of Excel and PowerPoint, so I didn't have a problem with that. So I was didn't have to face any challenges with that. I was really good with that. And I think it's a good practice if you're not a working student while you're working at home, so that you get a little bit of practice, because I don't think in this world we live in, we use papers anymore. You draw with your paper, with your pen and ruler. You just need to create a graph on Excel.
No, no, for sure, for sure. And
Mm.
even Psycho the Professional Body is moving towards online writing as well. They want
Yeah.
to fast track that, and we want to partner with them in being a leader in the space as well, because it is really the future,
Yes,
and
I
being
must say.
proficient.
Yes,
Mm,
sorry. And I must say, and one of the arguments that Psych have when you have to submit your LOR is they include the spreadsheets part. So you
yes.
also benefit from school, from work, and it's just a double benefit from my end.
No, great. The other one was you touched on the participation. So we don't only focus on
Yes.
the learning. We know that an engaged student who is also reflecting. So a lot of our participation is asking you to reflect on your test and how do you feel it went? Where can you improve? Um, So you mentioned that you found that benefited you, which also contributes towards your marks. So it's not
Yes.
like we just say you must do it. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point because it also encourages you to do it because you know it will contribute to your marks. It will create like a sort of a difference because I think it counts 2 marks. I'm not sure if it counts 2% of your formative.
2%. Yeah, most
Yes,
modules, it's when you do it, it's 2%. You do it
2%.
twice.
So you know that you have to do it, even though some people just say, I do it because I need to get my marks. But at the end, you're just sabotaging yourself because you're not being honest with yourself. So if eventually, if
Yes.
you do it, you know that you're not just only doing it for free or for you see as doing it nothing. You're doing it to benefit yourself with the marks and also to reflect on how, okay, how can I now maneuver my next test? How can I prepare
Mm.
for it? How can I do better? Should I maybe consult more? Should I spend more time? And it also helps really a lot.
Wonderful. Now tell me, Little Bootle, I want to pull Terry Lee into the conversation over here, and it can be a yes or a no from your perspective. Terry Lee, your domain, you actually the manager of our student success and wellness advisors, and that you're doing a great job to support our students. Letubutle, did you use any of or attend any of their sessions or find anything useful?
So I do attend the live sessions that are hosted by the lecturers every week. And as a full-time student who's working and who's on a full load, I did make use of the non-academic support to just help me plan around my work schedule, my study schedule, and everything. So I did make use of it. So I do make use of the resources offered by Malpark.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So I'm going to ask Terry to come in over there. So this is the thing of not only the academic support, um, also the very important non-academic support, which we call kind of psychosocial support, because we know students struggle with so many other things other than just the academic hurdle that they need to overcome. So, Terry, what are some of the initiatives and yeah, just what you offer students in this domain
Yeah.
of non-academic support,
Hi.
specifically for our BCom?
Okay. Hi, Jonathan, and welcome everyone. It's great to have you with us this evening. Yeah, as Jonathan mentioned, it's holistic psychosocial support, which is quite a mouthful, but our aim is to kind of provide you with support for your well-being, attending to your unique needs, as well as the needs of, the student body. And what we find, it does go hand in hand with the academic support, as Laura mentioned as well. What we find is students sometimes do focus all their attention on academics, as you should, but you can also be pulled in different directions in your personal life. You could be faced with challenges that are sometimes you might be unsure of how to manage. And that's where our team comes in. We offer a voice of reason, a listening ear, some guidance, and a sounding board. Um, so some of the things that we offer, in addition to your academic support, we have study groups that students can create. We have student reps that students can reach out to. And we've also recently partnered with October Health, which is a mental health app that students gain access to where they register with us, which is quite exciting and something new that we have recently launched. In addition, I wanted to mention that when you start your journey with us, all students are meant to take a smart to measure, what we call smart to measure and Gallup Clifton strengths assessment. So Laura alluded to, strengths and how we want you to understand who you are and get to know yourself, and a lot of Laura's modules would focus on that. So smart to measure in a nutshell focuses on you identifying areas of strength and challenge for students in terms of their skill or readiness or preparedness for tackling their studies. For example, it might identify how you manage your time, your level of reading and recall, your learning styles, your typing speed. I know Lita Buchle mentioned, you need to be kind of prepared for typing and writing online and things like that. So when you start, smart to measure identifies those aspects and highlights that for you. And then on the other side of that, there's also Gallup Clifton Strengths, which focuses on identifying your top 5 unique talents, as we call it, or strengths. which gives you insight into how you function or engage, with life on a day-to-day basis, essentially. So these tools are super exciting. We want you to obviously be aware of who you are. We want you to leverage your skills and your strengths to set you up for success. And as our team basically works alongside students to assist you, especially in that very first year, those first few months can be quite overwhelming. So we encourage students to reach out, unpack your smart to measure skills, how to set you up for success at the very beginning. That's our aim. And then also ongoing kind of live sessions that we would host tailored to smart to measure as well as Gallup Clifton strengths. Um, one of our main virtual interactions with students also takes place in the form of one-on-one consultations. So students can come to us for various reasons. Some might need guidance with a study plan, others might find it challenging to balance work and studies. Some might just want guidance on how to navigate the studies amid the day-to-day daily life challenges that might pop up. So our team or my team addresses whatever the student needs that might hinder their performance and ability to be successful, and assist students in just recognizing their innate abilities, such as their strengths and weaknesses, as I mentioned, and how to leverage that in their studies. um, and then we also, a focus of our sessions is definitely mental health and mindset. We feel that when you embark on a studying journey, you need to take a moment to also stop and think about where you are at mentally. How are you actually coping? And we provide students with resources on how to manage and cope with their mental health, as well as maintaining a positive mindset. Um, then that is one-on-one consultations, and similarly in our live sessions we have additional live sessions that run on a hopefully a bi-weekly basis. They call the success and wellness sessions. We host them on a Monday and a Thursday. As I said, bi-weekly. There are various topics that we focus on, but these sessions provide you with key insights and reflections, as well as tools and resources, as I mentioned, for maintaining a positive mindset, managing your studies, your lifestyle, just aiding you guys in being set up for success. Some examples of these sessions are like on study techniques, a work-life balance, unlocking your Gallup strengths, and so forth. So there's just various sessions that we host at key points throughout the year. For our bridging students, I just wanted to mention, Jonathan, they have access to all these resources and more, but we also have kind of tailored our support to include bi-weekly or monthly check-ins, where we specifically reach out to bridging students and discuss how best to support them academically and mentally. So bridging students, you also are part of a Microsoft Teams group where we can, share your challenges, your successes, and then meet up to best support you. Yeah.
That's excellent, Terry. Thank you so much. I think the point that you raised there of supporting the bridging students as well, because sometimes we actually know that the bridging students need a bit more support as well, just in terms of where they're at. And Smarter Measure is such a wonderful tool that we can use and our students can just learn from in terms of an objective assessment of where they maybe need some help and support to be successful on their academic journey, which is great. The one thing that's also important to note is that our students never need to feel alone. Letubutle, maybe come in here again, because we really say this thing of we are an online contact program. So like inverted commas, like you should always feel in contact. So not like physical contact, but there should never. So did you post queries on Viva Engage? And have you felt in contact?
I do use Viva Engage, but most of the students don't use Viva Engage that a lot. But we were able to communicate with the other students, so we had a group chat on WhatsApp. I think the reason why we don't
Okay.
use Viva Engage is more like I don't know what to call it, but it's more like a preference issue because we're more used to WhatsApp than Viva Engage. So I do post questions on Viva Engage when I have a question for the lecturers. But
Yes.
in terms of like connecting with other students, because now you like online students, you might feel alone because most of the
Mm.
time you are alone. So I did join a few of the group chats with other students who have really
Yes.
asked, for example, when you just wrote a test and you're like, shoot, this question was an issue, and just to feel that sort of like, okay, at least there's someone I can talk to who's going through the same thing that I'm also going through. Yes.
Hundreds, yeah. With our postgrad students, I know they use, I mean, they're thousands of students that we have over there, they use VivaEngage a lot, but they also, and I don't know if this is the trend yet in the BCom, but they answer each other's queries as well. So, if you have a question about strategy and leadership and Laura's still sleeping and she hasn't woken up yet and seen your query, then Mr. X or Mrs. Y may actually be the one that jumps in and says, "Hey, Letobutle, I've actually dealt with the same question and I've got the answer here." So there's the opportunity for peer learning and answering of queries to also happen. But I mean, you can easily reach out to the lecturers, as Jean-Pierre and Laura spoke about, in terms of booking consults with academics, and then even your team, Terry. Yeah, so that's the one thing about this online. Although we're an online contact program. We are going to take questions a little later, and if there are questions from the audience, there's a lot of questions that have been posted in the chat. The one thing we haven't really emphasized yet is that there are exemptions that can be given if you've studied at another institution. So we spoke a lot about the entrance requirements. It depends on where you studied, what you've studied, etc. And we do give exemptions for you to transfer into our program. We will always require you to do, though, the one first year module. Now, that's IPAS, the Introduction to Professional Accounting Studies, because it sets the context for the e-bike story and the journey that you're on. Now, just an interesting side note, the way the first semester of the BCom is structured is that you only do the IPAS module when you first study with us. It's about the first 8 weeks or so that you study. You do the Introduction to Professional Accounting Studies. And then for the balance of that semester, the rest 5 weeks or so, you then do your other, I think it's 4 subjects with after the Introduction to Professional Accounting Studies. And the reason we require even those students who have been given exemptions from other modules to do it, as well as those who start the BCom to just focus on that 8-week module, is so that you are well orientated for success. We have actually found, and I can say it from signing off results, that if a student has been an engaged student with us and has done the formatives in terms of the quizzes and the tests that are there for them to do in the module, that we have close to 100% pass rate oftentimes in the exam. 90%, 80%, roundabout there. But it's really, really good pass rates that we see for those who sit and write the exam because you needed to have done the quizzes and these other interactions along the way. And that's not to say they're a high hurdle and they're just kind of sifting before they get to the exam. No, it's stepping stones that are there to help you to get to where you need to be successful in the exam at the end of the module. So Letobutle, how have you found that journey in terms of having the quizzes and the tests that you had to have in preparing you for the exam? Have you found that useful, beneficial?
Yes. So with the quizzes, I really think it really helps a lot because there was one point in the modules where we had quizzes for every week. Content that has been released. That was really great because now when you study for the exam, you know what you have reduced the workload, if I can say it like that. Instead of like not doing some form of a test during maybe like 5 weeks, and then after 5 weeks you have this big chunk of study material that you have to now start studying. So the quizzes really help because now you know, okay, it's like a matter of like refreshing your memory for the test because now you have already studied this thing. You did the quiz, and then with the quiz it also shows you how much you have learned this week. Do you still need to spend more time with this content, because the marks obviously just pop up directly. So now we have an idea. Oh, okay. I thought I had everything under control, but clearly I don't, because now I just didn't do good on this quiz. So then you know from there. But they really help a lot. Especially when it comes to the tests and exams, because now it's just the workload has been reduced to just a matter of refreshing your memory.
Yeah, that's actually a nice angle that you brought there, because it is this thing of how do you eat an elephant, in chunks, one bite at a time, type of thing. Not that any of us want to necessarily eat an elephant, but that's how we guide you on the learning journey. The other aspect here, while you still here with us, Terry, is that we also are quite committed to proactive support for our students. So we don't only want to help you when you're struggling, but we want to try and pick up early if you're not engaging in the learning management system, or if you haven't attempted a quiz, we will reach out to you. I don't think you said much about that, Terry, but
Yeah.
some of
No,
the
Jonathan.
initiatives there.
Yeah, no, I think the proactive initiatives that we have are more of a collaboration involving academics being involved, the operations team, as
That's
well as
right.
SSWA. So throughout the program, we ensure that students are on par. From my side, at the start, if students are disengaged, we don't want to check up on you specifically. But we do want you to engage. We want to make sure that you are fully supported. So one of our initiative is reaching out to you guys directly to ensure that you are on board, to check in as to whether or not you're struggling. If you need help on our platforms, identifying how to manage LMS, anything especially at the early stages or onset, my team would be specifically involved in. Then on an ongoing basis, if you haven't written a test, or there's challenges, and we see that you are not engaging, or we have like key kind of things that are highlighted throughout the program, which maybe you'll fall in our at-risk bracket essentially. But we liaise with one another. Lecturers often refer students to our team to kind of reach out, to give you a call, send you an email, and kind of get engaged in that way. Um, yeah, so we try our best to kind of get in touch, check in as to how you are doing.
Yeah.
We also do make lots of announcements, in what's available, what's up and coming. So you are well informed essentially in terms of what's coming up.
Yeah. No, it's not like a spamming in terms of just
Yeah,
like information overload, but we very
yeah,
carefully think about what you need to know and when you need to know it.
yeah,
And yeah, whether that's before an assessment or after an assessment.
yeah,
There's some questions that have come through in the chat. I see there about online test writing. Our tests take different forms. There was a question, multiple choice or essay or what. It depends on the module. We want you to come out. This is one thing we haven't said yet. As a well-rounded graduate, we have graduate attributes that we focus on in terms of you being a confident, curious, collaborative, just well-rounded graduate that comes out of our program. And that's not only done by one body of knowledge, it's not only done by one form of assessment, etc. So our assessments take different forms, and our modules are structured differently. At the end of the program, you also do a capstone module that is more project based, and you work in teams, etc. And that which you do right at the end. So we start you off with this introduction to professional accounting studies. You do a business plan and that. So Letobuhle, your first semester of next year will be that what we call the module is actually called responsible business leadership in the third year. So yeah, it really is. We could spend hours talking about the beauty of the BCom that we have. So from my perspective, what online studying with us also requires of our students is not only our students to make time. You've got to make a time decision in terms of whether you have time. Is it 20 hours, 40 hours? You're going to study full workload or half workload. But it also requires you to be a disciplined person, because we as Millpark Education can't come knock on your door and say, hey, are you sitting at your desk now? Please come and sit at your desk. You need to be the disciplined one. And Terry, your team comes in and sometimes helps people who will reach out to you to say, I'm struggling with this one. What can I do? Etc. So I know that we offer those. Maybe if you do struggle with that, then there's help that we can give. But not only discipline. We know that a successful student also needs a belief in themselves and confidence. And that's why we focus on the person as well. The BCom, our BCom is not just about head knowledge, it's also about the heart and who the person is, the student that's on a journey with us. So, and we will, if you don't, in terms of Millpark strategy, our strategy is to unlock human potential that there is. So if you're a prospective student listening to this, we know that there's unlocked human potential in you. You can unlock it yourself, yes. Read books, do things. But if you're struggling or whatever, we will help you to unlock your human potential. And part of that is as well you being somebody who believes in yourself and is confident, because that is oftentimes one of the key ingredients to be successful, not only in your studies, qualifying as a CA, but in life beyond as well. So I believe there's Kayla. Kayla, are you with us here? Calling Kayla. Kayla.
Hi,
Kayla,
JD. Yes, I'm here.
look here. Here's Kayla. Look at the smile. Kayla's all the way in Ghana. She's one of the lecturers on our team as well. She just didn't know what to do this evening, and she decided to join the webinar and to start answering in the chat. Kayla, lovely to have you with us. Kayla, tell us which module do you take and something nice about the program that you enjoy.
Yeah, thanks, JD. But I couldn't, when I saw that the webinar was happening this evening, even though I wasn't originally a part of it, when I saw it was happening, I had to jump in and have a listen.
Love it. Thank you for jumping in.
Sure.
Love it. Love it.
So I do financial reporting and compliance, and something that I love about our program, there are tons of things that I love, but what really stands out for me is the flexibility, especially as someone, because I actually studied with Millpark, so I can attest to the flexibility of like the way things are structured. And also, I love how the program is designed with the CA of the future in mind. The content is designed in such a way that we're not just teaching you parrot learning where you kind of just know things and like you, but like you, like where you just study things off by heart. It's really, the aim of the program is really to develop you and grow you beyond just technical competencies, but about the kind of professional that you are becoming and the leader that you can be in your industry.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. And I mean, you said you're a student with us. You did our bridging program.
Yeah.
You did our PGDA. You were top performer in our PGDA, and you have conquered the IAC as well as the APC, and now you are Kayla Mallinson CASA. So we love having our homegrown timber back with us. You started as an academic in our postgrad department, and now you are in our BCom, and it's lovely having you with us. So thank you for joining and sharing your insights. And we're almost at the end. So I think we're going to move to some questions. If there are any questions, if anybody wants to put their hand up, or even my panel that's with me, even Letobutle, if anybody else wants to chip in or share anything. The one thing that you shared, Kayla, about flexibility, I didn't specifically say it, but it is a big part of our program, is the flexibility of. I said the thing of our program will fit your life. It's not your life that is to, and that's kind of talking to the flexibility. Yeah. So anything else from anybody else? Ayla, Jean-Pierre, Laura, Terry, go for it.
Yes, hi, Jonathan. Yeah, I think I just wanted to add some like last little tips or tricks or things that I think I want students to be aware of. And I think one key thing when you are on this program is to just get comfortable, with recognizing when it is time to ask for help. Recognize when you are perhaps not coping, to realize that it's okay not to be okay sometimes. when you join, you will see that our staff, they want to contribute to assisting you all around. I think we are passionate people. We really want to invest in our student success, not just my team, but the overall team that you will engage with. So, yeah, we are all here to offer support and guidance in the best way possible. A question I also get asked a lot from students is, what could set me up for success? This is a very it's a very general question. Like, it depends on you as well, and you need to be willing, like Jonathan said, to embark on this. It's a level of discipline. Um, but of course, the end goal is to obviously pass, do well. But what students should not overlook is, holding on to your purpose. Like, why are you here from the start? Like, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to embark on this? As well, work on towards maintaining a positive mindset. Think about your ability to persevere on this program throughout the learning process, experiencing an aspect of growth that you never knew you had within you, is so valuable sometimes as part of this process. And, just believe that you are capable despite the setbacks. I think that contributes to setting oneself up for success. So yeah, I just wanted to add that, like, we can all be successful, but that self-belief, your purpose, maintaining a positive mindset, and persevering through the face of setbacks, really, contributes to you being successful.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks for that, Terry. Yeah, that kind of brings us to the end of the time that we have, most definitely. But it doesn't mean we can't take a few more questions if there are any questions. I think most of the questions have been answered in the chat, and thank you to everybody who's been answering questions as we go. I see there's a few in the Q&A as well. If we will scan the chat as well, just to make sure all were answered and have been answered. But yeah, just a last call. Are there any questions that anybody wants to ask? You're welcome to raise your hand. You don't have to put on your camera. We'd love to see your face. Victor, yeah, go for it. I see your hand up, Victor. Can't hear you or see you.
Okay,
There
can you
we
hear
go.
me?
Yes,
Can you
yeah,
hear me?
hear you.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
What I want to know, because I just want to know, I have a National Diploma in Financial Accounting. I got it in 2020. So I just want to know if you guys have a bridging program that will take me to NQS level 7, or I'll have to start from the beginning.
Are you wanting to join our BCom, a bridging program? What do you mean to NQF7? Something to top it up?
Yeah, something that will actually bridge me to the degree.
So your national diploma is NQF6, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, not at this point, Victor. We don't have something to top up your national diploma, because to get into our bridging program for PGDA, you need a NQF7 degree with financial reporting to second year. So if you've got a national diploma in accounting, you will definitely be able to apply for exemption from some of our BCom modules, but you'd gain entry into our BCom, but we just have to see which modules you can be exempted from, and then you'd have to pick up some modules, and then you would exit from us with a full NQF7 BCom in accounting, SAICA accredited. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. I totally understand, because I actually did try to. I'm waiting to just finalize my registration. It's just that I wanted to find out as to if I have to start from the beginning and then do that if I have to. And
you would definitely not need to start from the beginning, because I can guarantee you, if you've done a national diploma in accounting, you will get off definitely some financial reporting modules at a first year level or that. So you wouldn't be starting. But like I said, everybody that joins has to do that initial introduction to professional accounting studies, just to orientate you and get you set up. and then thereafter you'd be able to get an exemption that'll be considered by our team, and they can give you feedback. And if you have any queries, you just ask questions. Our BCom is very different. So it is sometimes difficult to give you as many exemptions as we'd like to because of the interwovenness and connectedness. For example, our strategy modules start in the first year, second year, and sometimes these other qualifications haven't even touched on strategy. So then we can't give you an exemption from strategy. We have another module called economic foresight, and that looking at future studies, and that's also something that's very different in our BCom. So then we can't necessarily give you an exemption from that. We have accounting business information systems, which looks at actually practically using an accounting system and software, and that. So if you haven't done those types of modules, then it's difficult for us to give you exemption from it. But hopefully I'm exciting you, because even sometimes I've said to some students have reached out to me on LinkedIn and say, I want to do your program. What do we do? And sometimes I say to them, which is the truth, I'd rather tell you the hard truth now, which is you may need to take a step back, but it's going to help you to take 10 big steps forward rather than maybe struggling forward or that. So does that help, Victor?
Yes, I definitely understand. And also, I'm reflecting at what you've just said now to say that sometimes we just need to take a little step back and it will take you 10 steps forward. You know,
100%.
when I look back, I think that I should have done a lot of things back then, but then now I think I'll just have to do that and see how everything goes. Thank you very much.
Yeah. No, I can guarantee you it'll go well. And nothing, when you've made a decision, it's not a mistake. It's a learning moment, reflection, whatever, we move forward. And when we move forward stronger. But at Mill Park, we move forward stronger together, because we're in this together. You won't be alone. Any other questions before we conclude the session? Maybe from those who have also answered questions in the chat, just think if there is anything you want to mention that maybe as we land just now. But we have a question or a hand up from Kagiso. Go for it, Kagiso.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a
Evening.
question. With regards to what Victor just said now, I hold a postgraduate diploma in tax. I specialized in tax, so I'd like to go straight to PGDA. However, I got rejected last year because, I asked for reasons as to why I got rejected, as to maybe could you kindly please suggest as to what I can do in terms of getting into the program. But I still didn't get any response in terms of suggestions or why am I getting rejected, because I do hold an NQF level 8.
Maybe 8. Yeah.
Yes, it is 8. So, and it
What
does
was your undergrad that you did?
I did cost and management accounting. So I do have financial reporting in the last year, going together with management accounting.
Yeah. So it's one of two things, Kagiso. It would either be you need to do our bridging program, which is a 6-month program you can do to get into PhDA if you don't meet the direct entry requirements, or you should be able to get into our PhDA. But you can definitely reach out to us or revive that ticket, and there should be no reason why we can't get back to you. Our sales team is pretty responsive and pretty in the know with respect to our programs.
No worries. I'll definitely send another mail just to ask as to, and send all the required documents just for them to check. Well, thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Kagiso. Yeah, that's why we also say, just to conclude as well, we have these various options and that, and sometimes it can be so confusing with there's this bridging and that, and we have these info sessions just to try and give more clarity and this thing of we are able to, in some way, like Victor's question, we can't perfectly meet you where you are to just say, let's add 1 year onto your NQF 6 to make it 7, and then but we can say, okay, how can we make it work with exemptions and bringing you on board with us? Kayla?
Hi, JD. I just wanted to answer a question in the chat from Madison, where Madison says, I'm a more theoretical, whatever, a
Theoretical,
person.
yeah.
So, yeah, theoretical, oh my word. So I'm wondering if this program would be suited for me, or is it mainly based on practical work? And I thought that was a good question, and that I was typing something, but that I would just answer it out loud. And Matt, I do understand where Madison is coming from about liking more of the theory side of things. And this is still a degree, so there is theory, like the content that you cover, it is theory, but the way we do cover the theory and the kind of work that we go through is that we make it very practical and like real world for way for you to understand it, right? And with the theory that you cover, the only way that that theory is going to help you and add value is when you see how it fits into the real world, which is what we're trying, which is what our content aims to achieve. So it's not like, it's not just like practical, like there is still theory, but the way that it is framed and the way that it is taught is that it still helps you in the real world, which is ultimately what we're preparing you for. Like there's no point in studying all these things, but you actually don't know where it fits in the real world or how it's going to help you when you get a job. I hope that makes sense.
No, I'm glad you shared that. Yes, I mean, it's good. We have to have the theory and the content that you learn, but it can't stop there for anybody, because then you're not going to be value adding in the workplace. You're not going to be able to do what you actually need to do. So all we're helping students to do is to gain the theory and then to ensure they understand where it's needed and how to actually apply it where it needs to apply. Yeah. Leto Budle, you've been patient. You've also raised your hand.
Yes, thank you. I just have a question because I have a problem with help desk. I'm trying to register for my third year modules, but they're telling me that I can't. I need to wait until next year. I just want to get a confirmation with you guys. Is anyone aware of that? Of why?
We must follow up on that then. I can't. Yeah, Nyla?
I'll look into that later, Bukle, because you should be able to register for your next semester's modules. We start on the 4th of August, so yeah, I'll look into that for you, but there's still some time before that starts.
Okay, no problem, because I was stressing out. Thank you.
I thought you were going to add about the theoretical versus practical learning.
That's Rasuna has a hand up, and then we can go to you, JP. Rasuna? You want to go so long, Jean-Pierre? You had your hand up?
Thanks, Jonathan. I just wanted to also mention that it's a BCom in accounting, not a BCom in English. So if the word pronunciation isn't too practical or if it's too theoretical, then we also don't mind that too much.
That's great. And Jean-Pierre has just demonstrated that we also have a lot of fun with our students in our live sessions and as staff together as we do this. Yeah, just a reminder that we've had other info sessions. We had our PGDA one on the 17th of June. There is a recording of that one. It's been posted in the chat and it's available on social media. We had our bridging into PGDA, and if you're looking at the options of how to get into PGDA, bridging program, or even a bridge into bridging, that was last week on the 26th of June. And then there's this one that focused on our BCom accounting program and the entry routes into the BCom in accounting program. Rasuna, your hand went down, so I'm not sure if your question's been answered, but I think that then brings us to the end of our webinar. I would like to sincerely thank my panel, especially Letobutle, for representing our students so well and speaking so well. And I wish you all of the best with your final year of completing your BCom with us and juggling. You're doing so well, juggling full-time work with full-time studies. So really well done to you, and all the best with it. Shows you, and you showing other people that it's possible. Well done. And then thank you also to everybody who's joined us. Really great having a discussion with you, and looking forward to you guys being students with us. Yeah. And have a good evening further. Thank you, everybody. If you do have any questions, reach out to us on the website
Thank you.
or contact us. Appreciate it.